The flu season is underway and it's hitting with a vengeance.
Health officials are already reporting more than triple the number of outbreaks this season than all of last season, depleting workplaces and classrooms and filling up doctors' offices.
Our Marissa Bodner is live in Portland with what experts say is leading to the spike and the simple things you can do to try to keep you and your family healthy. Marissa?
Now, Kim and Greg, doctors here at Maine Med say they're not actually that alarmed. They say it's pretty typical for the flu to strike in waves. They say depending on strains, it can hit harder some years than others. Obviously, this is one of those years. But most importantly, they say it's still early in the season, so it's not too late to get vaccinated. And doctors tell me those who've had the vaccine, if they're getting the flu, they're seeing them get a milder version. Now, last year, during the entire 2011-2012 flu season, 10 outbreaks were reported and no deaths. So far this season, again, still early in the season, 32 outbreaks have been reported and 1 death. And doctors say there's no way to know exactly why cases are spiking.
I think part of the reason we're seeing higher numbers is because there's another virus that I think is hitting people at the same time. This has been identified, I believe, as a norovirus, which has some crossover in its symptoms. It also causes flu-like symptoms in the achiness and malaise, but it also causes a lot more intestinal symptoms, a lot of nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea.
As for those simple steps to take to protect yourself from the flu, doctors say the usual: make sure you're washing your hands, using hand sanitizer, try not to touch your face, cough into your sleeve. Very importantly, to drink fluids. If you do get sick, make sure you stay home. And once again, not too late to get that vaccine if you haven't had your flu shot already this season. Live in Portland, Marissa Bodner for News 13. Back to you.
All right, let's hope things get better.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marissa.
Well, it was a double murder that rocked a small Maine town.
In July 2011, this home in New Gloucester became the scene of that tragic crime. Today, the trial began for the man accused of killing the mother of his children along with her friend.
Prosecutors say the son of the suspect and the murdered woman saw the whole thing happen. Today, that boy took the witness stand. News 13's Steve Roldan is joining us now with more details on that story. Steve.
Well, Greg, I can tell you we heard some very damaging testimony inside the courtroom today. We heard from the defendant's 8-year-old son, who testified before a jury that he saw his father shoot his mother outside their New Gloucester home. Now, 31-year-old Joel Hayden arrived at the courthouse this morning. He's charged with killing the mother of his 4 children, Renee Sandora, and a longtime friend by the name of Trevor Mills. It all happened at their New Gloucester home back in July of 2011. Today, the jury heard from the son, Hayden's son, who testified that his father shot his mother outside their home, and he also testified that he saw Mills go through the glass door after he was shot by his father as well. The prosecution is arguing Hayden is a drug user and prone to jealousy. Defense attorneys, however, arguing that the state doesn't have enough evidence to prove Hayden committed those murders.
As Trevor lay on the deck, bleeding from his gunshot wounds, Hayden walked out the door and fired one last shot at Trevor. Hayden also shot Renee Sandora. The bullet passed through her abdomen and through her left arm. At 6:40 p.m., Renee called 911 from her cell phone. She told the dispatcher, "My boyfriend just shot me. I'm at 322 Bennett Road, and he shot his friend too."
The evidence will show you in this case, ladies and gentlemen, that the police jumped to a conclusion very early on. They jumped to that conclusion, and they ignored alternative theories and alternative pieces of evidence.
Well, the trial will resume again tomorrow morning at 8:30 here at the Cumberland County Courthouse. We expect to hear one of the doctors testify in this case, and we also expect to hear about the evidence that the prosecution has against Hayden. That's the latest live outside the Cumberland County Courthouse. Steve Roldan, News 13. Back to you.
Steve, thanks so much. Well, the charter school debate is soon going to be heating up again at the State House.
By law, Maine can have up to 10 charter schools in the next 10 years. But as our Brad Rogers tells us, Governor Paul LePage is now pushing for an unlimited number of them.
This is Maine's very first charter school, Goodwill Hinckley's Maine Academy of Natural Sciences. Here, high school students learn about agriculture, forestry, and sustainability. It's one of 2 charter schools now open. 2 more are ready to open, and tomorrow the Maine Charter School Commission will review 5 new charter school applicants. That's 9 in all, and by law the state only allows for 10 charter schools over the next 10 years. Governor LePage and Education Commissioner Stephen Bowen want to abolish that limit.
I think we want to have as many charter schools as can viably serve the kids that they're there to serve.
More charter schools, though, mean less funding for public schools.
If we believe that a student is going to end up at a charter school that's going to better meet their needs, then the funding is going to where the most effective education for that student is.
So we really need to make sure that we're focusing on improving our public schools. That's where our focus should be.
Senate Majority Leader Seth Goodall says too many charter schools will end up hurting kids in public schools.
The real problem with charter schools from a funding standpoint is that it takes the dollars from schools, often these small rural schools, and it goes with the student to the charter school.
The Maine Education Association opposes adding charter schools for the very same reason.
We definitely think that it's important that public schools are funded adequately before we start adding schools to the mix that then take money away from the public schools.
Governor LePage faces an uphill battle in his bid for an unlimited number of charter schools. Maine Democrats say their focus this session will be to provide as much funding as they can to public schools, not take that funding away. In Augusta, Brad Rogers, News 13.
Well, some of the top jobs in Augusta are filled by new people tonight, the result of the Democratic takeover of the legislature in the November elections. Democrats now control all of Maine's constitutional offices, including Secretary of State, Attorney General, and State Treasurer. The legislature votes to fill those positions. All the new members say they look forward to getting to work and believe they'll have no trouble working with Republican Governor Paul LePage.
I can work with just about anybody, so I'm not afraid of that. I mean, obviously, he is the governor, and he can implement policy however he chooses to within the confines of the law. Certainly, I'll be open to working with him. I have a great deal of respect for the office of the governor, and I don't care who's in it.
Matt Dunlap, who you just heard from, returns as Secretary of State. Janet Mills returns as Attorney General. And Neria Douglas, a former state auditor and senator, is Maine's new state treasurer, taking over for Charlie Summers, Bill Schneider, and Bruce Poliquin, respectively.
We have an update tonight on the search for the bodies of 3 missing snowmobilers in northern Maine. Searchers say ice on Rangeley Lake is still not safe enough for them to go out on, and they will not continue the search until conditions improve. The 3 men have been missing for more than a week after they went snowmobiling along Rangeley Lake. On Friday, wardens used sonar imagery and say they found 2 snowmobiles and possibly a third in the water. Wardens say they'll continue to search from the air, but will have to wait on the weather to go back into the water. The man police say robbed a Sanford credit union last week is now behind bars. Justin Brady turned himself in at 3 o'clock this morning. Police say Brady demanded cash from a teller at the York County Credit Union on Thursday before taking off with an unknown amount of cash. He claimed to have a gun, but no weapon was shown. Tonight, Brady is being held at York County Jail. Maine's former top drug prosecutor turned fugitive will face a judge in Maine for the first time since his capture. James Cameron, a former Maine Assistant Attorney General, is expected in federal court tomorrow morning, just weeks after he fled from the state. Cameron, who was caught in New Mexico after 2 weeks on the run, disappeared just hours after finding out a judge upheld some of the child porn convictions against him. U.S. Marshals say he cut off his electronic monitoring bracelet and took off. Marshals caught up with him in Albuquerque. Cameron's hearing is scheduled for tomorrow morning in Portland.
Well, some intense moments this afternoon in Scarborough where firefighters rushed to the scene of a fire at a home. Officials had to shut down Route 114 in that area while working to put out the flames. That did cause some pretty nasty traffic backups in that area while the evening rush hour was happening. That road is back open now. The garage is a total loss, but the home did not suffer any damage.
Gentleman is working in his garage, working on the car, working on a fuel system, and the car ignited.
A very similar scene in Lewiston over the weekend. A man accidentally set fire to his garage while working on a vehicle. That fire melted some siding but didn't cause some serious damage to the home. There were no injuries reported in either of these fires.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Charlie DePresti.
Well, welcome back, everyone. Today was a gorgeous start to the work week, wasn't it? Loads of sunshine, a light wind, and temps made it to seasonable values. We touched 30 degrees. In fact, 31 was your high temperature today at the Jetport. We'll tack on another 10 degrees of that tomorrow and again on Wednesday. In fact, mid to late week, I'm tracking temperatures generally around 40 degrees. Not tonight, though. 24 degrees for an air temperature in Portland. Wind chill is not an issue. With clear skies and light winds, I expect, well, wide range in temperatures tonight. Here's a look back at our Old Orchard Beach Pier cam, and that evidence of the clear sky we have in place right now. High pressure remains in control just offshore tonight. With a return flow around high pressure, we are going to see more of a southwesterly wind kick up tomorrow. That will allow things to warm up. So temps make it to around 40 degrees for tomorrow, and again on Wednesday. In fact, late week, temps will be in the upper 30s to near 40 as well. Things are quiet in the Doppler HD. When you don't have any clouds, it's hard to find any showers out there. However, we did have some of those snow showers this morning. Some towns, particularly back in the mountains, reporting an inch and a half of snow there, but nothing too extreme. There is a wide range of temperatures tonight, and there will be a wide range in overnight lows. Check out the temp in Caribou, 0. In fact, it's 5 in Bangor. Here in Portland, we're in the 20s. There is a warm front to our south, and overall warmer air will slowly invade. We'll start with a southeasterly wind early on tonight, but again, that southwest wind kicks in tomorrow, and it will become quite breezy. That will usher in slightly milder temperatures. Look at New York City at 41 degrees at 6 o'clock this evening. So going forward, I expect temps near 40 tomorrow, near 40 on Wednesday, low 40s on Thursday, a little bit of a cool down Friday, and I do have question marks in Friday's forecast. There'll be a little weak weather maker on Friday, which appears to bring primarily rain to most towns, but away from the coastline, we could be looking at some sleet and freezing rain either late Friday or Friday night. So I'll watch that for you. Going into the weekend, though, look at that. Temps a good 10, 15 degrees above normal. It's possible we touch the mid to upper 40s on Sunday. We'll watch that for you. That will be followed by a cool down next week. In the near term, though, details of your forecast. Again, that warm front pushes through. More than anything, it shifts our wind over the southwest tomorrow, so milder air will invade. Temps will be running the teens and 20s early on. There will be some overnight lows away from the coastline, mostly in the teens, but some mountain valley locations should dip into single numbers tonight. Again, that range from single numbers in the mountains to near 20 degrees at the coastline. But by 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, we're sending temps back into the upper 30s to near 40. It's been a few days since we've had temps like this, and there will be a fair amount of melting going on tomorrow. Look for loads of sunshine. The only fly in the ointment tomorrow will be a breeze, a southwesterly wind gusting, 20, 25 miles per hour. Here we are at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday now. It's another mild day with highs in the 30s to near 40 degrees. In fact, some towns will top out in the lower 40s. I expect a few more clouds to filter in on Wednesday. Just a few passing clouds. That's it. A weak front moves through late in the day. That will shift our wind back over to the west and northwest. So late in the week, we clear it out again. Thursday looks okay with highs around 40 degrees. 3 consecutive days with temps a good 5 to 10 degrees above normal. And the longer range forecast, our next weak weather maker should arrive on Friday. We've increasing clouds. I think we're talking primarily rain, and probably not a lot of it late Friday or Friday night, but inland towns could be looking at a little bit of sleet or freezing rain. Notice that high temperature on Friday in the mid-30s away from the coastline. But Greg and Kim, it looks like we're going to keep the mild air through the weekend. A lot of folks want to see some melting. A lot of folks want to see winter come back. It looks like we're going to have both of this, both in the 7-day forecast.
Everyone's happy.
There you go.
That's the way it looks. Next week, it turns a little bit colder, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks.